Welcome, friends. This is Under the Arc Sports. I'm Eric,
And I'm David.
and today we are going to preview Mizzou's game against the top-ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and find us on Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, so Dave, you were at Mizzou's last game against Vandy. What did you see out of Mizzou that they might be able to take forward and use going against Georgia? Anything?
The energy behind Tyler Macon when he was on the field, especially when he got that touchdown. I know it was his first touchdown, and the team itself seemed to be super excited for him, celebrating along the sidelines and everything. Again, I don't know if that's going to help or do anything for this game, especially because we don't know who's going to be starting in the quarterback position, most likely Brady Cook. But um, I mean, just the sheer excitement around someone new leading the team, I think, was something different.
Yeah, and you mentioned Brady Cook being the likely starter. I think there's a lot of people thinking that way. Tuesday's practice was closed to the media. Typically, there's a part of the practice that the media can go to. That has to be because of the whole quarterback situation and just trying to keep Basilak's situation under wraps in terms of what his status is, just so Georgia has to prepare for really three quarterbacks. But I'm with you. I think Brady Cook is going to be the starter. I don't think Basilak's going to play, and we might see some packages with Tyler Macon. I think that comes down to how you want to use him for 4 games and no more, because he can play in 2 more games and still keep his red shirt. And there's no point in wasting it. Burning the red shirt in this year is just a ridiculous move, and I don't think Drink is stupid enough to do that. So we may not see Tyler Macon at all. It may save him for more winnable games, maybe Carolina and Florida, Carolina, Arkansas, something like that.
My 2 cents on Tyler Macon is Drink has already said he wants to be careful with him.
Yeah.
Everything I'm seeing is there's a lot of upside with him, but there's a lot he has to learn as a freshman coming in.
Yes.
He's still not quite familiar with the playbook, and he's still picking things up. I don't see him playing it down unless Cook gets hurt.
Yeah, I agree.
And Basilak is not being able to go. I really don't. I just don't think it's a game you want to throw him in there. He's more of a scrambler. You don't want to throw him against that defensive line and get him hurt as a freshman. I just don't see it happen.
Now, you mentioned potentially not playing him, not to risk him getting hurt behind the Mizzou offensive line. They're going against a Georgia defense that's just ridiculous. And for the Dogs defensively, it starts up front with Jordan Davis, the 6'6", 340-pound defensive tackle.
To put it in perspective, I don't think Mizzou has a 300-pound defensive tackle.
I mean, Mekhi Wingo, probably the best D tackle Mizzou has, is like, he's about 6 foot 6'1" and maybe 285. Right. So that's just for comparison there.
Not to mention our offensive line is banged up.
Yeah. There was already some shifting around with Case Cook being out. Center Michael Maietti was listed as questionable. So, yeah, that's the interior of the offensive line, I think, is in for a rough day on Saturday. That's not to say that the rest of the Georgia defense is not just as good. The Georgia defense has allowed 6 touchdowns all year. They've got more interceptions, 10 of them, than touchdowns allowed. That is an outlandish statistic that I don't think I've ever heard of. What do you do, David, if you're Mizzou?
Take a knee.
I mean, I think the obvious way to give yourself a chance as an underdog is to shorten the game. That requires sustained drives, which is going to be just an enormous task for this offense. Now we're going to play it. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think Mizzou's best bet is gonna be the quick, short outside passes and any type of outside run if they can even get outside.
Yeah.
Um, with the interior line the way it is, you don't want to run Tyler Beatty up the middle. You just used them for half your plays against Vanderbilt. I don't even know if you'd want to use them that much. There's just not going to be anywhere to run or go. Um, Short pass game. I mean, this would be the type of game you would really like to have Connor Bazelak because he's really good with those short passes and finding little open spots. However,
Yeah.
again, he's probably not a go in this game, so you gotta make the best of it with bubble screens and little short dink and dunk passes all over the place again.
Yeah. Now we're gonna play a little game here. Just bear with us, understanding that this is the biggest. This is Mizzou's not been this much of an underdog in 25 years or more, right? So we understand that this is probably going to be a brutal day on Saturday for Mizzou. But if Mizzou is going to win, David, what has to happen in your opinion?
They got to be able to run the ball, well, kind of like we were saying a minute ago, or just move the ball. You got to get first downs. Keep the ball on your side, run the clock. Uh, Keep your offense on the field, keep your defense off the field, especially because they're going to struggle with the run game again. And no turnovers. You can definitely not have a turnover in this game. Also, and it's been a struggle lately too, no penalties.
Yeah.
On either side of the ball, really, because they're drive killers. So, really, Mizzou just has to play the perfect game. And to be honest with you, everything has to go wrong for Georgia.
Yep.
In order for them to win.
So now I've got a list of things. There's two scenarios in which Mizzou wins this thing. The first scenario, Mizzou has a minimal penalties, like 2 penalties for 10 yards or something. They have 0 turnovers. Georgia has a minimum of 3 turnovers, and those turnovers are turned into touchdowns. And for that to happen, Mizzou it'd have to be like a pick six, scoop and score, or they'd have to run it back almost within the 20-yard line, because and a fumble at your own 30-yard line, I don't see Mizzou putting together a 70-yard drive all day. All of that has to happen in scenario 1. So the only other scenario in which Mizzou wins this game is if Georgia gets lost on the way to their own stadium. It's the only way it's happening.
Or they all get COVID.
Yeah. Now, with those scenarios laid out for you, David, now it's time for predictions. And I mean, it's not going to be fun for Missouri fans. That's not really a surprise. It's worth noting Missouri is now the only team in all of college football that is winless against the spread. This week, the spread is 38 points, which is unbelievable. But Mizzou's not going to cover that either, I don't think. It's just going to be brutal. Missouri, in my opinion, will not score a touchdown. They'll get 2 field goals. Both of them will be in the second half against Georgia's second or third string defense. My final score, 59-6 for Georgia.
See, and while Mizzou is yet to cover anything, I will say they have won me a lot of money because of it. So if you look at the glass half full, I've been making some money on Mizzou this year. I agree with you. They're not going to cover again. I hesitate to even say Mizzou's going to score. My prediction is going to be 49-0. I mean, there's just so much going on Mizzou's side of things. I don't think they're going to get a point. I really don't.
That's a reasonable thing.
Unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong, but Georgia is that good. Their backups are just as good. I really could see Georgia winning the whole thing this year. Anyway, that's all we have for this week's prediction at Under the Arch Sports, no matter how depressing it might be.
See you guys next time.